This tutorial will teach you how to do a winter glow makeup look. My husband recently surprised me with tickets to go see Wicked at the DPAC, which is a new-ish theater in Durham, which is a city right next to Raleigh. So I was gonna use that as an excuse to kind of get a little bit glammed up because I don't do much of that these days. So a couple of the products I'll be featuring in this tutorial are by Arbonne. I have been a huge fan of Arbonne Cosmetics and some of their skincare, although I haven't ventured too far into it for years. If you look back into like blog posts from 2012, even possibly 2011, I can't remember when I first discovered it, I've been using their full coverage liquid foundation for years, and it is the only foundation that has never caused my skin to break out. So I'm a big fan. So I've talked about them enough that they finally connected with me and generously sent me a couple more products to play around with, so I'm happy to use them for this tutorial and review a couple of my favorites from the bunch. Because it's sort of a direct sales company, so you can't walk into like Sephora or a department store and pick up the products, I thought it would be helpful for me to share my opinions on them. Just sort of an outside person that's not selling it and doesn't have a motivation behind it and just genuinely wants to share with you stuff that I think is great. So the only thing on my face right now is the Fresh Lotus Youth Preserve Super 6-7 Complex Face Cream, and then I'm going to apply a bit of the Arbonne Makeup Primer. This is a product that I've used for years as well. It comes in this black tube here. A possibly all-time favorite primer, and I've used a handful. There's always seeming to be new primers on the market. I feel like they come out a lot in the spring and summer. But this one by Arbonne is like a clearish serum, and I just use my fingers and rub it all over my face. It goes on like silk, and it feels so good. I like to do my eye makeup first before I do my face makeup, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of MAC's Paint Pot in Painterly. It looks like a nude color, and cover both my lids with it. This is similar to a cream eyeshadow. You can just wear it alone, or you can use it as a base. I like to apply a decent amount to my lids, and then dust with a little bit of powder just to take away sort of the severity of how well it works. If I don't dust with powder, my eyeshadow is maybe a little bit too dark for my preference, but the eyeshadow takes away the edge a little bit. It's like if you use double stick tape and you stick it to your jeans first and then stick it somewhere, it's still gonna work, but it's not gonna be as strong. So that's what the powder does for me after I use MAC's Painterly. So I'm excited to use this Victoria Lake palette by Arbonne. Truthfully, I haven't ventured into their cosmetics beyond their foundation, so I'm excited to do this tutorial and show you. This is a limited edition palette, so not all of their makeup comes like this, but it's got this really pretty cheek warm highlight, and then a nice variety of neutral shadows that I will use almost all of today. I picked up some of the gray shadow with my Sonia Kashuk brush, and I'm going to put that all over my lid. The reason I do my eyes first before my face is to wipe off, because I'm so fair-skinned, wipe off any fallout that may happen from either the fibers I'm using with my mascara these days or any eyeshadow that falls onto the top of my cheeks. I don't know if you can see it, but I already have, I think, what is sun exposure from under my sunglasses from many years. So I have some dark lines right there anyway, so I don't want any additional darkness there. So that's why I do it first. There's not one right way. It's just a preference. Now that my entire lid is covered, I'm going to focus on the crease and outer corner with the darker brown shade. Clean up any extra eyeshadow that may have gotten beyond your crease with a fluffy brush, and if you need a little bit more cleaning up, just dust this brush in the powder you use to set your face makeup, because that will match nicely with your brow bone. Next up is eyeliner. I'm using Stila's Smudge Stick Waterproof Eyeliner in Graphite, which is a nice charcoal gray color. It's a little bit less severe than black, but still gives you great amount of definition. Next up is mascara. Okay, time to move on to the rest of the face. I will be using my favorite liquid foundation of all time, as usual, the Arbonne's Perfecting Liquid Foundation. It has an SPF of 15, and the shade I'm using is Soft Blush. We're just gonna keep it simple and use our fingers. Your fingers are not the best way to apply foundation, but for me it works pretty well for blending. You can use a beauty blender, sponge, or a foundation brush. Next, I'll fill in my eyebrows. I'm using the Anastasia Perfect Brow Pencil in Taupe. Time to conceal the under eyes using Bobbi Brown's corrector. I'm using the shade Porcelain Peach. Over top of the corrector, I will use a concealer, and I'm using Bye Bye Under Eye concealer in the shade Light. Since I have those dark spots from sun exposure, I always like to put a little bit of extra concealer on those. Next, I'll set everything with MAC Studio Fix powder. I like this just for a basic setting powder. A translucent setting powder would also be a great option because the Arbonne Full Coverage or Perfecting Liquid Foundation is a full coverage foundation. You don't need extra powder for coverage. This is just to take away a little bit of shine and matte everything out. For a little bit of a change up from my norm, I'm going to use this really pretty forest green shade on my lower lash line just for a little bit of color and twist, and it's not a color I tend to wear, but I found myself sort of gravitating towards it more often, so I thought we'll put it on the lower lash line for something different. I put a bit of mascara on my lower lashes as well, and now it's time to add the glow. So I'm dusting a little bit of it all over, focusing on where I would add bronzer, but concentrating the majority of it on my cheeks. So for more of a girly glow, I would finish the lips with the Anthropologie Lip Moisture Tint. Gosh, I don't know the name of it because it's not on this product, but I'll include it in the text below this video. This is a nice nude pink color. It almost looks like you're not wearing any lipstick. So it's not going to take away from sort of the more dramatic eye, especially with that forest green on the bottom. This is a good pink that sort of complements it. But if you want something a little bit more evening, I'll show you a lip color by Arbonne that's going to give you a ton of impact. So this is the shade Sunset in their Sheer Moisture lipstick. You can see in the tube it looks really intense, but it goes on a little bit more sheer than you would imagine. It's still an impact color, so perfect for evening or if you want a little bit more dramatic of a look. So I hope you enjoyed this makeup tutorial and were inspired by the warm winter glow look. I really like using that cheek highlight instead of a blush, especially in the winter time because my skin can get very pale, which I'm fine with, but adding a bit of glow and warmth goes a long way. Thanks for watching.